Thank you for your interest in cavity mechanism number 9. This is how you'll want to install it. When you open up the crate, you'll find the dome, the top of the piece, the bottom of the piece, the wooden dome base, and a kind of stiff paper ring. To install the piece, what you're going to do is you're going to take the stiff paper ring and just put it over the dome and slide it down until the top of the paper ring is about 21 centimeters up. It's right there. Top of the ring is at 21 centimeters, and set that aside. Next thing you'll want to do is take the top of the piece. There's a rubber band holding the threaded piece that comes out of the bottom to keep it from getting all tangled up during shipping. You'll want to take the rubber band off. Make sure you don't let the piece slide inside the base. If it does happen to go in there, just fish it out the bottom as best you can, trying to keep all the cables straight. Then take the base and screw it on like that until you get to the end. Okay, once the base is screwed on, the piece is assembled. What you'll want to do is look over the piece and make sure the cables are on all the pulleys. I would imagine during shipping some of the cables will come free, and even you may have some of them come off when you install it, so it may take a couple tries. But either way, what you're going to want to do is the piece moves like this a bit. So what you'll want to do is kind of compress the piece a little bit, which will stretch out the cables and keep a little bit of tension on it. Then kind of look at all the points where the cables cross the pulleys and just make sure that the cable is on. You can see this one, the cable is not on. So what we'll do is we'll just rotate that as carefully as we can in our hand and try to find that cable and see if we can slip that on to the pulley, just like that. And we are looking good. To install the piece, what you'll then do is take the dome, lie it on its side. Hopefully it doesn't roll away from you too much. Then you're going to kind of cradle the piece in one hand where your fingers are supporting the piece and kind of let the counterweight sit on your wrist. You'll want to stick the piece up inside the base. It's a little bit tricky, but it's not super critical where it is at this point. Once you get close, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to see the rubber pads just above the line of the paper. So the paper is on there, so we have a straight line going all the way across. Once we have that in place, we can kind of tension it just a little bit. You don't want to make it too tight at this point. And it's going to start to grab. And when it starts to grab, then you can set the base on the container a little bit and just slowly get your hand in there and start to maneuver it until the pads are pretty much all the way around at the top of the paper. And then you'll put a little bit of tension on the weight, and you can rotate it around and just see where the pads are. If it needs a little adjusting, you can kind of slowly, if you move it real slow, you can get the pads to slide a little bit to where you need them to be, and then just check going around. Right there. So that looks pretty good. Once it's in there, we can go ahead and just take a few fingers, push on the base, and just snug it up. It doesn't take a ton of pressure to hold it in place. Blow out some air a little bit, see if the steam disappears. Once that's done, grab the dome, keeping the counterweight from knocking too hard against the inside of the piece. You can set it down, take the paper, slide it off, and that is the installation of cavity mechanism number 9. Once it's in there, you can, again, look at all the cables going over the pulleys and make sure everything is where you want it. Make sure it's pretty flat. I mean, you can double check it with the paper again, slide the paper down, make sure that all the rubber is kind of even with the paper. That's a good way to make sure the piece is level in there. As long as the seams on the paper line up and the paper's not folded, like that, as long as it overlaps straight, you should be pretty good around the dome. And that is it. Good luck. Let me know if you have any questions.